Dzień dobry Państwu.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yet another presentation of all possible methods. Before coming here, I thought how to pack the bunch of these very modern ideas on e-learning, online training, broadly understood, not only lectures at universities, because, by the way, I am working for the Department of Statistics at the Gdańsk Technical University, and I also run various analytical trainings, program development training, data analysis with students of data engineering, and the students are really demanding. As of 10 years, I've been acting as the e-learning university coordinator. And I was dealing with a platform and was working on the platform, and that's how I started to make my own platform more modern. But 10 years ago, the content management platforms and cloud platforms have been very scarce, very simple, rudimentary. Uploading files to cloud, sending links, that was sufficient. Our classes were run in the classroom, not much happened here. And then it was followed by the pandemic, and we all know how all this happened. And I became one of the most important personas at the university. And I was receiving phone calls and emails 24/7. I was helping others to run the classes synchronically and asynchronically. So synchronically on the Zoom, Teams platforms, and asynchronic, well, I helped others to use e-nauczanie platform. This is the overlay of the e-module platform. This is actually the this kind of attachment, which is extension, which is very modern and it looks very nice and promising. So since pandemic times, I started to do things myself and to make things more modern. Why? Because during pandemic, my students of data engineering analytics became even more demanding. They said that things were quite basic during various classes, and they wanted more. So I organized more and more internal training courses, more and more things I had to learn myself. And well, I'm all the time seeing that other colleagues from different universities or different departments, they use perfect tools that I used as niche tools, and they proved to be quite effective for them. Today, I have a feeling that we took different direction, and as a modernization of trainings and e-learning courses, it's already too rich. This offer of tricks and tools at various courses is too rich, be it hybrid courses or stationary courses, because now we came back to the classrooms, to students, to audience, recipients and trainees. Now I'm head of e-learning center at our department at Technical University, and we started offering various commercial courses for people externally. Python from scratch, data analysis courses, courses that would prepare trainees, the participants of e-course, to take the state tax exams at various levels. So this offer will be even more extended. Who's gonna to run these courses? The experts, those who know these modern techniques, those who introduce them to e-courses. That's why before I start my presentation, I have a question for you. I will ask this question, and by the way, I got really stressed while thinking about this question, so that because I hope that the content of my presentation will be fitting your expectations. But let me ask this question that I have for you. What is modern e-learning? Each of us understand this in a different way, because all of us run various courses, e-learning, online courses, remote courses, etc. Sometimes we need such courses as simultaneous tools for some recipients, some students. So let's have a look what we have. Online, acquiring new skills, participation, openness, interactivity. Yes, interactivity, this is really the essence. Yes, when I offered reports to my students, reports that would just, self-feeding, they needed actually to add some comments. Sometimes they needed actually to calculate something, but they treated it as two statistic tools. So audio, video, links, etc. That's not what they wanted. They say the materials should be interactive. They should lead them. They should show something more. They should sometimes ask questions or sometimes check whether they properly understand the content. So, in other words, self-tests, testing their knowledge. Sometimes there should be a short movie, but attached. But as I participated in many trainings how to edit videos, these videos should not be longer than 3 to 7 minutes maximum. Nobody will be able to focus on the content, even though it's great content, if a movie takes more than 20 or 30 minutes. So, this interactivity, that's exactly what we look for. We also have what else? Interactive, online, well-prepared. Perfect. These are other answers from you. Okay, by the way, this is a plug for PowerPoint. It's another tool. Even if we are in the classroom, please combine the e-course, e-training content with slides, with Menti, Slido. You can use these links for such questionnaires, and such questionnaires that can be done just with one click. I can copy it with one click to our website or to our platform. By the way, you don't have to have a platform, or I can actually link it as a static link to the website. And all of a sudden, all this becomes more interesting. It's interactive. Those who are not with us today still can participate in this, take part in this questionnaire. Okay, my topic is pretty difficult, specifically for me. How to grow your skills in the modern way, in a contemporary modern way. There is a whole basket of various techniques and various tricks that we can use, and that the majority of you probably know. During this presentation, I would like you to think how to use, how to find such tricks, how to learn tricks, and if we have not yet experienced them, I'm not even thinking about the movie on YouTube. No, we all know that on YouTube you can find various training courses, and for sure there are people who perfectly know how to use camera, video camera, how to, and explaining these techniques, and showing some screenshots. But we know that after pandemic there were various surveys made, and at Gdański Technical University, we made such a survey among students upon the consent of a rector, and depending on the department, well, the chemistry or architecture, Students, they claim they need contact in live contact and real experience, but other students said that actually 60% want to participate in e-learning. E-learning does not require that much time. We may agree or disagree, but this is the result of the survey. It's only our survey, but it has been confirmed by similar surveys performed elsewhere.
Jeżeli chodzi o biznes, to tam głównie skupiamy się na
When we talk about business, we mainly focus on the income and costs, and this type of implemented e-learning tools proved to generate 26% more income. 67. Well, 40 to 60%. Oh no, 67% of companies offer various e-learning courses, and the companies save 50 to 70% of costs, replacing the live training with e-learning training. So, for instance, accounting. Accounting, once developed, perfectly fitting the legal conditions, updated course can be used for several occasions. Okay, now the question that I need to ask, basically this is the question in red. What is our questions in red? Is it the original e-learning project, e-learning, e-course, remote learning? Do we have the LMS, the content management platform like eModule? Or maybe we don't have it. If we don't, what can we do to be able to offer such content? I will tell you later. Why this content should be made more modern or updated, I have explained. Because the recipients are more and more demanding, specifically young people entering job market who wants to improve their skills. Those that we send to some skill improvement trainings, they need it. They don't need this traditional, actually, blackboard, right, or whiteboard. That's the feedback that I received before pandemic. It was difficult, actually, to run the data analysis course at the data engineering department. I have received many feedback, lots of feedback from my students. Some saying that was okay, but some was saying, oh, this and it is hopeless and we have to improve it. So I did improve my courses in the classroom. Then the pandemic came. I still modernized and updated my courses. I left the interactive elements, and nowadays I'm developing some short intro to video tutorials. Intro, this is an introduction for each and every section, because my students wanted that. They said, okay, now everything is perfect. When I got feedback year on year, and year on year I improved my courses. Finally, the students told me, it's fine now, but now we are missing your component, because it's very, let's say, unhuman, and they said they miss this human factor, human person, the person, individual who presents it. 80% of my students said that I should be present there. Be it in the corner, image in the corner of the slide, or maybe short intro with my presentation. Here I selected four styles of learning: visual, audio, verbal, and kinesthetic. So how people perceive certain symptoms, how they are able to absorb new knowledge. And I did it purposefully because immediately I explained how we can introduce certain elements. Of course, we can introduce these elements to our e-courses, but these elements have to be modern. It's not going to be just a copied picture image, or it should not be a link for consultation or PDF file. It should be modern. It should be trendy. That's why in this presentation you'll find some tricks for you. Of course, not all of them you need to use, but there are some tricks that I use myself, or maybe some other teachers in the Department of Statistics use these tricks and techniques, and they prove to be quite effective. The first one is a scenario-based e-learning. It's an e-course online training based on the scenario. When constructing a course, I said to myself, well, there's the curriculum. I have to do this and that. Topic 1, topic 4, 7, checklist, done. But it's not the case. I understood it at the course of video processing. It's not like you sit in front of a camera, click it, done, that's it. And you're just satisfied with what you did. It turned out to be very difficult because you have to create material that is both modern and matching the needs of the author. Imagine, bear in mind, that's just the background to everything that I'm going to show to you. Such an e-course should be based on a scenario, not a list of topics, techniques that you have to convey to the recipient A to Z. That should be a full scenario. How, in a modern way, you want to convey the content. I often take a big sheet of paper. I draw a diagram, what should be where, which kind of techniques and why. And then it turns out that after each and every topic, I realized that, well, I've showed it this way, I've done it, I've used this technique 3 times already. And people are going to be bored firing up a similar tutorial for the upteenth time. My feedback for the last semester was, well, the tutorials are pretty, but you would better do this and that and that, and well, if we focus on it, we are good in one thing. Yes, we are satisfied with what we're doing. I was so satisfied during the pandemic. I learned how to create such tutorials, how to embed them, you know, how to entangle them in the content. I know that my time is limited, that's why each of the slides gives you some hyperlinks or words to be googled out. What you see in red should be treated as your homework, kind of. Because I'm not going to talk about all techniques and methods, but I do hope that you will have time to research them. Another important element is visual content. I've already mentioned that it's not only about photos, but during the pandemic and after the pandemic, I realized that visual content is able to attract the recipient. There's a topic, a main keyword that is important during my course, but if you place an avatar, some infographics, a mini image, screencast, GIF, anything next to it, I'm a huge fan. If you have, if you're a Chrome user, then you can use Screencastify. It's a free plugin. It's called Screencastify. One click allows you to record an image, a couple of seconds, 1 minute even. For instance, how to do something using that method. Your cursor, your mouse is on the screen, then you record it, then you stop recording it, you're able to download the GIF or MP4 file to your hard drive, and then you are able to share it during an e-course, and it's not somewhere inside. Of course, you can
put it into a PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is going to be richer then. It's not just going to be letters and words. There's going to be a GIF, something moving. People will remember, say, well, yeah, that's the analysis, that's the method with the software that she was talking about. Well, you have to do it this and that way. And, well, perhaps during an e-course, you can also use it. If there's an important function, I write it down, and they are also functional outside of the course, so the result is displayed. It immediately attracts your attention. And apart from the beautiful infographics, I love, for instance, Canva. You can arrange and automate so many things there. Sometimes even, you know, like really beautiful graphs that you create using special software look better when they are done in Canva. It's simply prettier, nicer for the eye, the colors, avatars, etc., etc. They can be posters or any other sources of materials. And my friends, for instance, have a kind of flipped training, which is like a reversed route during an e-course. That's what they did. A flipped training means that now it's your turn, do it yourself based on that analysis. You should build a professional report, not only the calculations, not only an activity, but also build a professional report. And on that basis, you're able to prepare professional reports, visualize them, and you have the interactive content. That's the hyperlink, the interactive tutorial. That's the first version. That's h5p.org. It's a free and creator of interactive content. Well, if you want to motivate a participant during an online course to watch your video, to get to the end of the tutorial, to get to the end of the course, but beforehand to answer some questions, like yes, no, true, false, to do a quiz, you can select an interactive video editor or link something on YouTube, and then you make a pause and you add interaction. Anytime you can stop the film and request that the recipient answers the questions, and then, you know, they realize that they have to do these activities before they reach the end of the video. So A, you know that they've watched the video, B, you have their answers. The status of completion is recorded on the e-learning platform, and then the person can score 1 point or get a green status, or you name it in the module. I'm minding the time. Sliders, hotspots, H5P, interactive tutorials. Well, I don't have my camera here from my laptop, but in PowerPoint you could also have your camera, your Cameo, and have your image from your camera with some sound or without sound. It's just there. You're there even though you're not there. And the interactive tutorial, have a look at it. That's an e-learning course on Moodle, on statistics. And then you see a tutorial embedded inside the course, and it's published on the server. That's pretty difficult, but there are many free tutorials that I will share with you at the end that are much simpler. Well, here you have to read it, click next, and you have to watch some things and definitions, graphs, methods. You discussed it during classes, but they are also available offline. That's on a server. You can enter your source code, and then you're actually prompted. Now it's your turn. There's no software needed. It's just, you know, a smartphone, computer, a tablet, and you can put it here, a table, run See you soon, for instance.
Tego typu kreatory tutoriali są dostępne w internecie.
Such tutorials are available online, and if you're in any way related to data analytics, then they are even more tempting.
To po prostu spowodowało, że ten kurs nie jest taki suchy.
Well, thanks to that, the course is not dry. It's full of text. It's not just files and text and fonts. That's it. Add to that some images that, again, catch the eye, gives screencasting, and it's much better. And then, depending on the discipline, I haven't come across it, but we also have AR, VR, augmented reality, and virtual reality. Soon AI. In some disciplines like medicine, chemistry, architecture, construction, different trainings of that kind are often based on AR or VR. Very often these are based on free software that's available online. They are constantly being developed, more and more open source software, upgrades, etc., but of course you have to have the right hardware for it. A company or a university that is able to sponsor that for you, so that you could use it during your classes. For instance, take a smartphone, make a visualization. And again, a link to a film with some free software, just a 3-minute clip of such presenting such tricks. As for AI, I don't want to start that discussion at all. It's very controversial, but recently we wrote an article with a colleague of mine, there it's linked here. Does AI in education mean that we have something to be afraid of? My colleague was rather critical, I was rather positive. We made a kind of exchange in the publication, trying to convince each other. I was trying to emphasize that AI is not a threat, that it's rather a chance. I'm of course giving you my perspective. Today, we are not able to control whether a text was written by AI, a fragment of a text or a fragment of a code, whether the problem was solved by AI or by a human being or a course participant. And, well, let's flip the situation. I gave my students a task, include ChatGPT in your task. Ask ChatGPT to draw your, to give you a code that will draw this and that. A function, a graph. Of course, that's not an error-free tool. That's just a template. Sometimes it's a solution that can be tricky. ChatGPT can give you a function that does not exist. There are other fields, like personalized educational paths, bots of various kinds, interpreters, code interpreters, language interpreters, based on data from the school or university. They can select the right tool or suggest you some mentoring or tutoring aids. They can also spark engagement by, for instance, processing natural language. That's where you see the link to the article that I talked about. It also gives you some insight into the tricks and the tools that I was mentioning. And let's
No i
continue.
tutaj self-test.
And self-test.
Dlaczego one są takie ważne?
Why are self-tests so important?
Dlatego, że stawiając uczestnika kursu
Well,
learningowego czy szkolenia online przed końcowym egzaminem,
if you request that an online course participant take a test or an exam, you're actually setting a challenge. They are not sure of their own capabilities and skills. They're almost sure. They've spent a lot of time doing all the homeworks, etc., etc.,
działało, wszystko rozumie.
and understands everything. And still, there is this sensation that perhaps there's something missing.
No właściwie prawie wszyscy, w którejkolwiek małej grupce studentów nikt nie zapytał, czy chcecie
Actually, every group of students that I ask
sekcję kurs.
in the e-learning section about the possibility of a self-test, they always say yes, yes, we would like to take a dry run. It's like, you know, off record, a self-test in any form, something that should help us test ourselves. It can be based on random questions, databases. I have the same question for all course participants, but the data used there is different, and we have a different way to interpret things. It can be, for instance, a data bank of questions that you make a draw from, and it makes sense because then everyone gets a different question. And then super memo method, first reminder, second reminder, third reminder. Self-test, once, complete failure. Second time, a bit better, I'm starting to understand it. There was the correct answer, there was a suggestion. I saw the suggestion, how to get it, how to reach it, what's in it. After the third one, it's even better, I'm starting to memorize it. And if that's the case, you know, that's deal done. The main goal of the course was reached. The video tutorials, that's a long topic. Is that an instruction movie or informative movie? Have you got a ready scenario? And if yes,
dopiero teraz usiąść przed komputerem.
Sit in front of a computer
Zabieramy się za montaż.
and let's do the processing, the video processing.
Osobą, jeżeli chodzi o komputery,
If you are not a computer whiz
do oprogramowania, do montażu. Nie chcę zatrudniać
and
profesjonalnych.
you don't want to employ a professional studio and
Wystarczy
a
dobrego
video specialist, I think it's enough to have a good quality monitor, microphone, camera, a good source of light, and you can start your journey with software such as Camtasia, OBS Studio, or DaVinci. Again, these are linked here.
prezentację, ona będzie dostępna.
My presentation will of course be shared with you, and you can read here how to
prostych rzeczy, prostych trików nauczyć. To
learn
jest
those
naprawdę
simple tricks.
przeciągnij
It's really drag and drop kind of thing.
Nie ma tam
Nothing
żadnego typu. Jeżeli ktoś wie,
extraordinary. If you know how to work with a PowerPoint,
to tam jest podobnie.
it's
Tylko
very
zamiast
similar.
literek,
Just instead of letters,
obrazki,
you're dragging images
przeciągamy swoje wideo, nagrane,
video,
swój dźwięk,
or your sound
małe ścieżkę audio.
as the audio.
Są nożyczki. Można
You have
przejść,
scissors, you can cut things if you make a mistake.
była okej.
You know, part of it goes out, part of it stays,
Jest.
and you got it.
To jest taki graf.
That's a graph showing you
budować taki scenariusz,
how to build an exemplary scenario,
takie programowanie.
how to work with that software.
Jak już mówiłem, badań
And as I said, research shows that
instruktażowe
instruction video tutorial should be 3 to 6 minutes long, and informative information videos should be 10 to 19 minute long. So I'm not linking the research here. There's just one source that I'm quoting. But this is a conclusion drawn in a number of studies. That's a kind of average. And
badania, czy
whatever study you think of,
tutorial wideo,
whatever video tutorial you analyze,
jak te wideo tutoriale powinny być, czy w kursie, to było 3 do 7 minut, 3 do 5 minut.
they are usually 3 to 5, 3 to 7 minutes max.
Słowa,
Then your attention
szkolenia,
drops, and the effects of training are miserable.
Jeżeli chodzi o dźwięk, jakość,
When it comes to quality of image and sound and lighting,
również mnóstwo
there is again
po prawej stronie.
loads and zillions of tips. You have it here on the right-hand side of the slide.
I na koniec
And last but not least, if we are already satisfied with video material,
powinniśmy to
you should
YouTube. Jakimś
post it on YouTube,
internetowy. Dlaczego tak?
not any
Może
internet
to być,
service.
publiczny.
Well, it can, of course, be restricted. You can mark it on YouTube. It can be public or non-public.
Chodzi tutaj o to, że nie ma
And
cały świat do niego dostępu.
non-public means that it's not made available to the entire world, but just the people who have the link. And that's how you embed a YouTube clip in a course.
On się wgra. Umieść. Klikamy kopiuj i wklejamy na swojej stronie czy na swoim portalu.
You can embed a link in your materials, at your website, or in any other
Uciąć taki długi link.
place. The link is lengthy, but of course it can be even turned into a QR code that you distribute later on to your students during brick and mortar classes.
Okazało się, że
Well, what turned out to be key is the following thing. If it's
świetnie wytłumaczona
a
metoda,
brilliant method explained in a brilliant way, I'm not going to duplicate it. I'm not going to do the same job twice. Even though I did start doing the same thing twice, but so far, short clips
jeżeli znają
were
Państwo
always embedded by me in e-courses. If you are familiar with Moodle, then you know that it gives you the chance to embed a link. You can go to a module like a website or a tab and click
kod źródłowy,
source code at the top
kod
and paste the code from YouTube. That's it.
wideo, tam będzie.
And the video is going to be available there.
Tutaj takie screeny z
Also some more screens from free software for video processing. That's for instance DaVinci,
ścieżka audio,
audio, video,
inne.
other, and
Suwaczek
the
na lewo, możemy coś wycinać, wklejać.
bar left, right. You can drag and drop things.
To jest oprogramowanie darmowe.
And it's free software, so you can do so many things there
Profesjonalne.
professionally.
Innym oprogramowaniem
Another
darmowym jest OpenShot.
free software is openshot.org. Again, very similar when it comes to the operating principle,
Na praktyce przeciągnij
practicing the drag and drop rule.
wstępne dodaj.
You can add some effects, some initial words,
Kliknij czerwoną kropkę, zaczynamy nagrywanie.
click the red dot, start recording,
I tak dalej, to naprawdę nie
and
jest,
continue. It's not difficult, really.
Wiadomo, początki są najtrudniejsze.
Of course, it's always hardest at the beginning. I was scared myself. I couldn't work it out. Sometimes I was really satisfied with what I did, but then when I watched it, the end product was rather disappointing. It was far from perfect, and I knew that I had to improve it, cut it, moderate it. I was talking too much about this and that. My voice pitch was not the right one,
I tak dalej.
and so on.
Programem do nie montażu wideo.
Another program, not for video editing, but for recording video content. So just video with our face, image of our silhouettes, just, you know, short screen. It's an OBS program. It's OBS Studio, that's the name. In OBS, I like that I can actually draw the picture of my person to the corner. In one half of the screen, I just place content, and on the other side of the screen, I can place another content. For instance, in my case, this is like a template. Half of the screen, it looks like a PowerPoint. It's like theoretical content or a table or board that I just, you know, can write something. And on the other side, I have the source code where we, you know, program some things. So students who are in front of the screen does not need to change. Just jump from one screen to another. It's just, you know, all the time in the same OBS program. And then DaVinci. And this is for professional editing. 3 sources of graphics for our materials. I mentioned already GIFs or other content. Zdolni e-courses, these are the services that I would recommend. It's like Flippy, Pixabay. I'm not an artist and I have always had some problems with drawings, and today we have a studio at the university, and our graphic designers can do things for me. Just, you know, in a month time I can actually, they can do something for me. But often I don't even write emails to them. I know I need to wait for their work, so if I need things instantly, I do it myself. So in these programs you can just, you know, enter the keywords and for free you get access. I have 3 minutes left, and there are so many strategies to discuss. Socially learning, another modern strategy, which is the joint learning, so social learning. I don't want to say it's gonna be an advertisement for this learning, but MOOCs and Udemy, Coursera, edX, these are the courses with certificates. I got signals actually from students that now they really want to become among top 10 because they get extra grades actually to get courses there. So at these social e-learning platforms, they fight for grades, for points. They basically get ready before we have a course together, because I'm not going to provide all the content during my courses, so I'm very happy that they are using it. It's a great supplementation. And of course, WebQuest and gamification, these are the strategies, additional strategies. And let me give you great examples of my 2 colleagues from the department, econometrics and forecasting, very difficult ones. Many students had problems with that, specifically during pandemic. Now, gamification and WebQuest, they are already embedded into my courses. So, gamification, elements of game, collaboration, competition, cooperation, etc. So, elements of strategy. And the difficulty here is to build a good scenario so that things come together and that you don't fail here. So, how can you learn? What kind of skills you need? You have the link here. You can choose and you can check. I know that's difficult. My colleagues use the big board, verifying various strategies, what happens if. So these elements of gaming in e-courses are very popular. More examples like hyperlinks here. Well, I thought that 45 minutes would be a lot, but it's not enough. WebQuest, what is it all about? Those of you who do not have an e-module platform should know that the WebQuest is learning based on the website. We don't know how to build a website because we are not IT developers. We are not going to employ developer. We are not going to go for hosting, buying domain, etc. This is yet another advertisement. For instance, majority of my friends use Wix site, and you have a link here, and you can see links for 2 very good courses on accounting and econometrics. You can see how they build their websites. My colleagues are not developers, and they told me it was very simple for them. The most important was to plan a good website where students use tests from clouds or from the website. So time is over, but we all know that we have something like mobile learning, Mood, Quest, and others are always available at not only PCs but also mobile devices. But if you don't want to go for such services, you don't want to develop them, there are ready applications, free of charge or paid ones. These are paid where you can learn language, but there are other free of charge where you can develop your own e-course, and this will take a course form of e-course. Glide, this is yet another Glide app. This is another application where you can create content. It's a fantastic application. Now I use it to create content for conference next week, and it's like you just click and drop, draw and drop. You just use the QR code. Once it's ready, then you publish it simply. Micro learning. Well, I submitted even an application here in the competition, and it turned out that students would learn easier with a method of small steps, short sections, short videos, and short e-classes, not like big topics. I was really unhappy when my students of my beautiful e-course want this e-course to be cut into smaller parts, like 10 smaller parts. But, well, first I was against it, but I did it for them, and now I see it works, they are very happy. And finally, last but not least, online webinars. Following trainings that I participated, based on feedback from my students, I can tell you that yeah, it's worth sharing, it's worth forcing people to switch on cameras, to see them, to ask them to engage, involve, to make these short offers at short breaks. And finally, what should be followed after e-course feedback, recap and feedback. Recap, do you remember, can you recall from the last section this and that? During class sections we discussed this or that. During class tutorial you know how to solve this problem, now we continue, we use this function. This is a recap. And feedback, the evaluation questionnaire for us. That's really a great thing. Even, you know, send or email, tell me what I should change, how, you know, I can improve it, because I want my e-courses to get better and better year on year. Well, the last slide you'll see my contact details, my email address, and homework for all of you. Please check and verify, at least test these 5 techniques. Here you see techniques and tools. Some of them you definitely know, maybe not all of them. You can implement them in your online trainings or hybrid trainings. And methodology. These are different. This is a different presentation. These are methods how to run online trainings or courses. These methods tell you how to organize it differently. Examples of very good e-courses, e-trainings, and remote classes. You can find them here under these links, and of course my publications, links, software, free of charge related to the online teaching. And as I promised, my personal details, contact details, QR code. This presentation will be made available, but of course you can ask questions. It's time for a coffee break, but I don't want to occupy your time. However, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them. If not, thank you so much for attention.